Hello, hello. Welcome to this episode of the Rogers Radio Podcast. I am your host, Alyssa Rogers, and this week we get to do something we haven't really done in a while. I know we did the entire team a little while back, but we haven't done a one-on-one team member podcast in a while. So here we are with Mr. Brandon Frost. How are you today?
I'm doing good today. How are you?
Doing good. Thanks for being on the Rogers Radio Podcast.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yes, I'm excited to have you because you just joined us not long ago. And I love to talk to team members that just started with us so I can hear about your experience with Rogers and what you plan to bring to Rogers and what your goals are. So I want to start by getting to know you. Who is Brandon Frost? What's your background and what led you to Rogers?
Oh, I'm Brandon Frost. I worked for Trane for about 7 years, so got a lot of industrial, commercial experience. I rebuilt centrifugal chillers. That was a lot of fun. Me and Joey's timeline and story is very similar there, so I think that's what helped get me here to Rogers.
Yeah.
Me and Joey having so much in common.
It really is true. And tell everyone, because when you say centrifugal chiller, what is that?
Oh man, so a centrifugal chiller is just a massive piece of machinery, makes chilled water for industrial plants, hospitals, jails, big stuff, big stuff. Massive stuff.
Like, we're talking a chiller is bigger than this room?
Yeah, much larger than this room. $1 million pieces of machinery.
Yeah, and so you were working on those every day.
Yep.
And how many years did you do that?
I was on centrifugals for about a year and a half. You know, you kind of got to work your way up that ladder, but yeah, I did centrifugals for about a year and a half.
That's awesome. And that is Trane Commercial in Danville.
Yes.
And so you are from the Danville area.
I am.
Okay, were you raised in the Danville area?
I was raised in the Danville, Pennsylvania County area, graduated from Tunstall High School. Then I went to DCC, got my degree in HVAC.
Yeah.
Took it at nighttime, took a little longer doing it at night, but got it all done there.
Yes, so it is the same kind of path that Joey took.
Exactly.
So, and I know Joey used to work at Trane, and when we were looking to add people to our service department, Joey said, reach out to Brandon Frost. And he hand selected, reach out to him. And here you are now. So it's really exciting.
It feels great to be wanted like that too. It's a great feeling.
Because it's always weird when you're reaching out to someone hey, you don't know me. Because he had me reach out to you.
He did.
And you have no idea who I am. And so I'm like, hey.
I was actually neck deep in a chiller on a pretty complex issue. And my watch went off and it said Alyssa Rogers. And I was like, what in the world does Alyssa Rogers want with me? And then I think I told you straight up that I wasn't interested in being here.
Yes.
Here I am.
Hello. And so we talked to you a little bit, and we're happy to have you here. And in your time here, what do you think has made you the most successful since joining Rogers?
The leadership is great. Really give you the tools you need to succeed. The onboarding process was great. We're still working to improve that.
Yeah.
Try to make that as seamless as possible so that way you can come in and hit the van rolling, ready to make the company some money, ready to serve the customers of Southside Virginia.
For sure. And we implemented, so for all the listeners, we are growing every day. We're improving every day. And so we're always trying to make the onboarding process smoother for team members that come in. And we haven't always had an onboarding process. Full transparency, people used to start and it's here's your uniform, call us if you need us kind of thing. And that's not the way to do things. Do not recommend. And we learned that. So you went through our first official onboarding program. What was that like?
It was great. I felt like we pioneered a lot. We came up with a lot of processes from, how to make your email signature to how to make your voicemail to how to troubleshoot a split system. We worked on building a lot of those processes and hopefully we can implement it for many, many, many employees to come. Yeah,
and those things are so important when you're first starting a new job. You want to make sure that you know what you're supposed to be doing from those little things to the bigger things. And so I'm glad that we could do that. We have lots of new team members starting in the next few weeks, so we're going to have to get you to help us.
Yeah, me and Joey have talked about that. I'm going to be involved a little bit, so I'm very excited about that.
Yeah.
I love meeting new people too, so that's always a plus.
Yes, it's going to be great.
Absolutely.
And so what is your day to day like at Rogers? What's it like to work at Rogers?
It's fast paced. It's definitely busy.
Yep.
I go to about 5 houses a day.
Mm-hmm.
You know, from comfort clubs to trouble calls. Just doing what I can to serve our customers the best way possible.
Yeah. And the service department, it's very, I always tell everyone it's you guys are the firefighters of the business. So, you don't know what you're getting into every day. People are calling because they don't have air or heat and they're like, just get to me.
It's interesting you say that.
Yeah.
I often compare myself to a firefighter or a police officer because when you call me and I show up, it's probably your worst day imaginable.
It is.
You don't have AC in the middle of summer. You don't have heat in the middle of the winter. It's never a good day when you see me. So to be able to come into a situation where the person I'm meeting is more than likely unhappy and I'm able to build a good relationship and leave their house with them happy, it's very rewarding.
Yes, it is. And, we still have a long way to go to make the service department the best ever. And you're going to be a huge part in that and making it a great place to come to work and very seamless. And
Right.
so what are your goals for the service department?
I want to build a great service department. I want to bring us to levels that Rogers hadn't been to before, for sure.
Yeah.
And I just want to have a great team. I want to be able to build a great team here and then be able to expand into new locations.
Yes.
So that goes back to the onboarding and having those processes. What we can do here successfully, we can move to a different location and do that successfully.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to learning and doing all of that.
It's going to happen.
Absolutely.
And what can customers expect when you come to their doorstep to be that firefighter?
A world-class service experience.
Yeah.
When I get there, I'm going to sit down, I'm going to talk with you. We're going to figure out what's been going on. We're going to find out, have you been happy with your system when it was working good? We're going to dig into everything that's been going on with your system. I don't want to just replace one part and leave. I want to make sure that when I leave, you don't have to call me back unless it's for a comfort club or something else breaks way on down the road. I want to make sure you're completely covered, completely comfortable, completely satisfied with Rogers and with your HVAC.
Yes, I love that. And we have a lot of people in the community, in the area, that may be thinking about getting into this high-paced industry and they don't know what to expect. And so what advice do you have for anyone that's maybe looking to join Rogers or join the HVAC industry?
HVAC's a great trade for sure. You get to learn plumbing a little bit. You get to learn a lot of electrical, and of course the refrigeration and the heating side of it. So you learn a lot. There's not much that I can't fix. There's not much that I can't do. Carpentry I'm not so good at, the small tedious stuff.
Yeah.
But as far as, anything electrical, anything heating wise, plumbing, it's a great way to learn all of that. As far as fast pace, don't let anyone have a higher standard for you than you set for yourself.
Yes, that's really great.
That's the best advice I could give.
That's really great. And you came in here and we do personality assessments and all that. And I think on our entire team podcast, you were actually taking that assessment.
I was.
When we did that. And so it came out that you are dominant, like a high D driver. And so how do you describe your leadership style?
Yeah, it's fast paced. It is a little aggressive, but I try to make sure I stay reeled in and not drive right over people. But it's very direct. Some people might say it's short, but I say what I mean and I mean what I say. And I'd rather just get it done than sit around and talk about our feelings with it. But I can do that too.
Yes.
I can do that too.
Yes. Yes. And it's knowing yourself to be able to do that. And that's why we do those assessments. And it's really eye-opening.
You're pretty familiar with drivers yourself, aren't you?
I've lived with one. I'm married to one. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, very much. And, we have a lot of drivers in our environment here because it's like if you want to be in a fast-paced company and you want to grow, like you got to have those drivers that
Absolutely.
are like driving the way. And then, the other personality styles too are important because they tend to actually make things happen.
Exactly.
The drivers are like the visionaries.
I'm going to be doing something. Sometimes it might not be the most productive thing, but I'm going to be doing something.
Yes. Yes, exactly. What motto do you live by?
I never lose. I either win or I learn a lesson, but I never lose.
And you are a high accountability person too,
Very much so.
because little story time here. Oh gosh, I'm going to tell on myself a little bit, and I didn't stick to my goal. So I had a goal in November. I was like, I'm going to work out every day in November. And I told Brandon this the 1st of November. And he's like, okay, I'm going to hold you accountable to that. And, people will sometimes say, like, oh, I'll hold you accountable to that. And literally, you were texting me, you were asking me every
Yes.
day, like, did you go to the gym? Did you work out?
Yes.
I didn't. I didn't stick to it, but we had a conversation about it.
We did.
And you were very positive and encouraging for me. So I appreciate that. But
Absolutely.
you definitely hold people accountable, and that's what a lot of people need.
Yeah, don't tell me you want to do something if you don't actually want to do it, because I'll make
Yes.
sure that you do it.
I
will
love
definitely make
that.
sure you
I
do
love
it.
that. So thank you for
Absolutely.
being that for me. And what are your current goals?
Just growing the service department
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
I don't want to look too far out, because at the stage we're at right now, things can change so much so
Yeah.
quickly.
Yeah.
So just being all that I can be, growing the company as much as I can,
Yeah.
I think that's my goals right now.
And we're getting into the Pittsylvania County
We
area.
are.
So, what are your goals for Pittsylvania County and the homeowners there? What do they need to know about Rogers?
The homeowners of Pittsylvania County need to know Rogers is a world-class service organization for plumbing, electrical, and heating and air. We are your one-stop shop for everything you need, and we are the best in the business. I guarantee it.
And you're going to get this guy.
And you get me.
Yes, you're going to get this guy. And of course, our famous question here, if you could have dinner with one living person outside of your family, who would it be?
I think I'm going to go with Ed Milet.
Okay, tell me more.
Ed Milet is the author of The Power of One More. And reading that book, it kind of propelled me into the next step in my life. It's basically about, do one more of everything. When I'm in the gym, when I'm about to fail, say in my head, let's do one more. When I'm at a customer's house, I'm trying to think of what is one more thing I can do to make this service experience the best thing they've ever had.
Yes.
So I'm trying to do one more of everything that I do.
I love that. And I will do my best to hold you accountable to that.
Let's do it.
And we'll continue holding each other accountable. I can't wait to see the amazing things you do for the service department, for Rogers as a whole, and for yourself, because
Absolutely.
you are going to go so far. And I'm just excited to be part of this journey with you.
I'm glad to be here.
Yes, and thank you for being here. And thank you, everyone, for listening to the Rogers Radio Podcast. I hope you enjoyed this as much as I did, and we can't wait to talk to you next week.